I'm Carla Williams of Majestic Designs and Creations. At Majestic Designs and Creations, I make special occasion items for weddings, baby showers, birthdays, you name it, and home decor items to add a little bling to your life. You can find us on Etsy at Majestic Designs by C. Today we are going to do some Christmas decorating. As we approach the holidays, I often hear from my friends saying that I'm just not inspired to do any Christmas decorating this year. But one of the things that may help to inspire you is to try something new. One of the great places to get ideas to do something new is Pinterest. On Pinterest, there are thousands and thousands of great ideas. And if you are not inspired to search and browse through those thousands of ideas, you can go to our page on Pinterest, Majestic Designs and Creations, where I've already done some of the browsing for you. I've created boards. You can check my Christmas decorations board and my home decorations board for some wonderful ideas that are already packaged and ready there for you. So today, what we're going to do is decorate the staircase with one of the great ideas that I got from Pinterest, because I too was not inspired to decorate this year. But because I'm going to do something new, I'm very excited to try something new, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. Okay, and so now we're back. So I now have all my supplies. I'm going to use my kitchen instead of my workshop because there's a little more room in here. So what I'm going to do that's different this year is I'm going to be adding ornaments to the garland, which was one of the great ideas I found on Pinterest. And this is not a commercial for Pinterest, but in the past I used just to take a garland, put lights to it, some red bows, bam, done. But this year, to inspire myself and do something new and different, I'm going to put much more effort into it, and I'm using the bows. I'm also adding ribbon instead of using just the bows. I said bows, I meant ornaments. I'm going to use ribbon as well. And one of the other major changes is the garland itself. This is a garland that you can find at any craft shop. I think this particular one came from Michael's. But the thing I like about it is it's a much more realistic look. The garland I've used in the past was very artificial looking. This has the pine cones. It has a texture that feels a little more prickly and just a little more depth to it. And it really gives more of a realistic look and feel. So this will be my first year using this for the stairs. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. So as I'm going through, I'm not going to tape every single thing because I don't want the video to be too long. I will go along the way and stop and show you things just in case you want to see how I did it. But I think most people have the sense of how to decorate a garland. But we will show along the way in phases. So right now I'm going to get started with lights. So this particular garland, I've used it for other things, so it's not all intact. I do have a couple of pieces to it, one of which is tucked there. So I think what I want to do to start is leave them separate. I thought about putting them together, but the way the staircase goes, I actually think it's going to be better to have it in two pieces. So I'm going to leave the garland separate, and I'm going to start by adding lights. I'm choosing to use just plain white lights because I really like the way white lights look. I think they accent what you're doing as opposed to taking away from it with overpowering the decorations with too much color. So I'm going to start with wrapping the white lights on the garland, and then I'll be back. So I have added the lights now, and I went ahead and on the first piece of garland I went ahead and did the ribbon just so I can kind of get a sense of how it's going to look and make sure that I'm happy with it before I do the next two pieces. So as you can see, I think it's looking really good so far, and we haven't even gotten to the ornaments yet. So what I will do, because I did say along the way, I will show some of what I'm doing so that if you want to see how I achieve this look, then you can do the same thing. So with the first piece of garland done and lid, I'm going to unplug it so I can move it. Give me a second here. And we'll do the next one. So with this piece, I'm also going to go ahead and light it just because I want it lit while I'm working with it, make sure I'm happy with how everything is looking. So it's already lit, And we're just going to, as you can see, I need to turn it this way. And I put a longer light tail on this one because it's going to need to be able to reach from the staircase down to where the outlet is. But on this, we'll go ahead and do our ribbon. You can attach the ribbon in your preferred method. What I did is I used a little hot glue, just a little bit, so that if I decide to do something different next year, it won't be problematic to remove it. So I only hot glued just the ends so that it will hold in place. I wanted a loose fit because I like the look, and it just seemed hot glue would work best for what I'm trying to do. So with this one, we'll just start it the same way. Since I wrapped it around, I just used a little hot glue to attach here so that I have an anchor. So we will do the same. My glue gun's a little further away from me, so push it away. So I like to hide my glue as best as I can. It is not always easy to do, but we're going to try to hide the glue. And we're just going to take a small bead across and then come under our ribbon and just press those together. Be careful, hot glue is hot, and I burn myself quite frequently despite knowing that hot glue is hot. So we'll give that a second, just let it cool so that it will be strong enough so that as I'm manipulating the ribbon, it won't pull it apart. Okay, you can fit there for our anchor. And then we're just going to keep it on the spool. That way I have enough and I don't have to worry about it being too long or too short. I can always cut it when I get to the end. So again, just going to do a loose wrapping. And as I'm going, I want to make sure that my nice little bristles kind of poking through, trying to keep as much of a natural look as possible. And we'll just wrap around. Again, not overly complicated. It's really about the aesthetics. And that's the biggest thing with design is I gotta just see it. You know how people say, I know it when I see it? So you kind of let your eyes tell you when it is right and when it's wrong. And in this one, I actually feel like it's a little too much. I have it a little more spaced out on this one. So I'm going to loosen this and add a little more space between my loops because my eyes have said that I don't like what I'm seeing right now. And we want the aesthetics to be right. So we're working very loosely and it's not attached. So going back and uncurling it and putting a little more space in between was simple as pie. And I can already see that giving it a little more space, I like it much better. And not sure if the camera's still getting me here. One woman show today. All right, so, and as we come to the end, and we're checking our aesthetics, making sure that spacing is good. And adjusting as needed. Okay. All right. And we will put another tail and anchor. Same way. And now I can just see exactly how much I need and used. It's a nice clean cut. And with a little hot glue, I will anchor this. But again, I want to make sure I'm giving my little branches opportunity to shine. So, that being the case, we'll add the glue. Nice little bead across. And we'll tuck under to try to hide as much of that glue as possible. Doing little taps to pinch them together so that I don't burn myself. And when that sets in a few more seconds, we will be ready to move to the next piece, and then we'll be ready to start adding the ornaments. So I'm going to stop the video, finish the third piece, and come back to do the ornaments. Okay, so now all three pieces have lights and ribbons. So now comes the fun part, at least the fun part for me, which is the actual decorating and designing with the ornaments. Because my ribbon is this nice red with the gold polka dots, which I really love. It just has a festive feel, but still kind of a sophisticated elegance. So I'm really happy with the ribbon. I'm happy with the way this looks so far. But based on the ribbon, I have decided to use gold and red bulbs. You can do some different contrasting if you want. You don't necessarily have to be dictated by the ribbons, but for me, I kind of like to follow a color scheme, and I really like gold and red at Christmas time. It's just very Christmassy. So now I get to decide. I have some different shapes and sizes, and trying to just get an idea. I do want to plan a little bit instead of just start sticking bulbs on here, because I do have limited numbers of each, and I want to figure out how to use them all and space them out. I don't really want to clutter too much. I think I'm going to cluster, and we'll see. I may change my mind because, again, it's all about the aesthetics. You can start without something permanent. Do not glue them until you're sure you're very, very happy with where they are. So to start with, I'm just going to see if I like the idea. I've got these pine cones that are made into the garland that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to kind of see if they will maybe be my map. So what I'm thinking of doing, and this is not pre-planned, this is how I work. I design as I go. So I'm thinking if near the pine cones, that's where I want to cluster the ornaments. They have a nice spacing, so it's kind of a natural spacing already there for me. Or do I want to go in between the pine cones, which I think my eyes like better. So if I use the pine cones as my map, and we go in between the pine cones, I like how that looks. So I'm thinking sizes and what looks good as far as textures. And this bulb is really large compared to the red bulb. I really like these bulbs. They came from Walmart for like $5. I actually had bought them to use for something else, not paying attention to the fact that they were glass and not shatterproof. So I could not use them for the other project that I had intended, but they were so pretty that I did not want to take them back because I knew I would find a good use for them. So I have these bulbs. I really like them. I'm just looking at the size difference between the gold and the red and just deciding whether or not I like that. So what I'm going to do, because again, I don't want the video to be overly long, I'm going to take a few minutes, play around with the bulbs, and I will come back when I have a plan of how I want to put the ornaments onto the garland. So I'll see you in a few moments. Thank you. Okay, I've adjusted the camera angle because in a break I went back and looked at the video, and it seems like some of what I'm doing might not be getting picked up, and the point is for you to see what I'm doing. So hopefully this will capture more. I have now gone through and organized the ornaments excuse me, to see how I want them to look. They're not laid out necessarily exactly in the order that I plan to attach them, but I have mated them and given them all friends. So now with that in mind, there's the color scheme is the same, but the ornaments are different. I have 4 of some, I have 2 of some. So with that being the case, and there's 3 different strands that I wish to attach ornaments to, I decided that I'm just going to kind of do them a little random, try to space them out, knowing that a real pattern may be a little difficult to achieve. But again, as long as I like the way they look, that's all that matters. They're going on my staircase. The only person that has to like them is me. Same thing when you're decorating. If you and your family like it, that's all that matters. You're decorating for your enjoyment. If your friends and family and neighbors like it too, that's a bonus. But the only person that really has to like it are the people that live there. So we're going to start with, I'm not going to do all of them on the tape. Again, I don't want the video to be too long, but just to get a start and kind of see where I'm going, and then I'll check back in and record just so you can see the progress as we're going through. So I've made it these two, size and color, look good. And I already discussed that I'm going to use the pine cones as my map. So I'm just going to attach them in between. I am not going to use hot glue to attach them, which I'm a very big fan of hot glue, but I always get concerned with the lights. I'm assuming that it's fine, but I always have these concerns about the hot glue getting on the lights and then burning down my house, and that's not a good thing. So what I did, and I have to find it in all of this, and I may stop the tape and come back if it takes me too long to find it. Here we go. I brought some floral wire, and I'm going to use the floral wire to attach them. It probably will take a little bit longer than if I was hot gluing them, but I just explained to you why I don't want to use hot glue for this project. So with the floral wire, this is something that you can get in any craft store. I suspect they even have it at Walmart. I'm using the green floral wire so that it will nicely disappear in the garland. And I'm just going to take it, I've made a nice little U or V here, and just kind of looping it through the branches, trying to find like a core, and just some place to make sure that when I attach it, it won't fall loose. I don't know if you're seeing any of this. No, you're not. Let me readjust the camera again. All right. And we're back. So I have adjusted the camera once again because as I reviewed the recording, it appeared that a lot of what I was doing was out of frame and you weren't able to see what I was talking about. So I'm down to the third garland. The other two have the ornaments added. And I'm going to do this one, hopefully, where you can see what I'm doing. And that way, if you didn't earlier see what I was saying, you will now. So, as we have the last set of ornaments to put on, we're going to follow the same process. We found our core and the garland here. And I'm going to take the floral wire and just go around the core piece here. As I bring it up, try to get it fairly even, although it does not have to be exact, and then tighten it and twist it, make sure it's not going anywhere, and then I'm going to loop it through the little top part of the ornament here, and again bury that down into the garland and try to make that little piece at the top disappear. And then we will tighten and loop that, and we're going to wrap it around the garland and trying to get a snug fit here. And that has come off. So what I will do, it's no big deal, is just use just a little glue. Since the whole thing that's holding it to it is that top piece, and it's important that it stay attached to that. So that happens to you, your trusty dusty hot glue gun. It's going directly into the cap, so I'm not worried about the glue getting on lights. It's going to go into the cap, and when it sets, I shouldn't have an issue with that. So you'll find as you're doing these types of projects, there's a lot that hot glue can cure. So we'll just finish wrapping this around. Try to be a little gentle because I know that glue isn't completely dry yet, so I don't want to pull or tug too much because then it'll just pop back off again. until the glue is firmly set. I don't want to wait for it to firmly set because I have other things to do and I'm impatient. All right, and now we'll do the next one. Giving myself plenty of wire. Doing a little bit more on these because this seems to be a thicker piece down in here. And to get around it, just seems like I need a little bit more wire than with some of the other pieces of the garland. So we will wrap through. And same process, tie it, twist it. See how that came loose again? Because Miss Williams probably should have waited before she manipulated it quite so much. All right, it's back in there. I could have also moved to another section of the garland and came back, had I thought about it, but I didn't, so there we go. All right, get this on here. I think it'll be fine next to our friend over there. And same thing, tighten it. Try to keep it from moving around too much. Seems to be a little loose, so I can tighten it a little bit more. And there we go. I don't want quite that much wobbly going on. Now we're going to wrap around. Really need to go between these two. I was a little hesitant because the other one's having trouble staying attached to the cap, but I think I was able to do it without causing any harm. There we go. And they both seem to be fairly tight. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. I'll do one more set of these, and then I'll stop the camera until I finish. I've got, it looks like 6 more to attach, so there's no need in filming all of that. I think by now you clearly get the gist. As we move on to the next one, we want to consider our aesthetics and making sure that we know what we want to put next. Looking at what I have left to go, these two look similar, although, I'll hold them up. Although one's larger than the other, the colors are very similar. And this one has a different color, just a little bit different because of the glitter. So I think I want to break them up. I don't really want these side by side. So what I will do is one of these first and then the other. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the small one next. And then we'll go from there. So looking at our spacing, I think we are here, because we've got one here and then one here. So I think we're actually going to come all the way over to here on our spacing. All these types of projects, really no matter what you're making, you always want to keep aesthetics in mind. And it's really not that complicated. I know people say, oh, you know, I don't have that kind of creativity, or that's not really my thing. Well, you know what you like and you know what you don't like. So if you're doing a project like this, you can just ask yourself, do I like that? Do I like how it looks? If the answer is yes, then keep going. If the answer is no, then figure out what you need to change so that you do like what you see. Everyone knows what they like and what they don't like. Even if sometimes you don't know how to achieve what it is you want, you know when you don't have it. You know when it's not what you want. So here, I like what I see, and I'm going to keep going. I've been thinking, I like the project, I like the look. I don't know if I want to stop here or add some holly berries, and I had wrapped that about 3 times, so I'm just cutting those right off. I think I may want to add some holly berries. That is going to be a visual decision. When I finish adding these ornaments, I am going to bring some holly berry picks in here and just kind of play with them and see if they add to the overall look or if they start to take away from the look. Do they clash? Do the colors not complement each other? And if I don't like the way it looks, then I'll stop with what we have, because I really do like the way these have turned out so far. Sometimes less is more. That is a very real thing. It is a cliche, and it is a very true cliche, and I seem to need to find a better spot here. When you're decorating, I think it's very important to keep asking yourself before you add something new, do we need anything else? You don't want it too sparse, obviously, but there becomes a point when it's just maybe too much and your eyes just feel a little overwhelmed. It's really a personal call. If you look at the movies, the Christmas movies that usually start in July, those homes are beautifully decorated, and this little hole is small and it popped off. Those homes are very beautifully decorated, and they are very over the top. They have so many decorations, more than most real people would ever use. Most of the shows that have those, it still looks okay. It's a lot. I mean, you'll see wreaths on every single door. I have wreaths on almost every door in my house, but that's because I sell wreaths on my Etsy site, and I display them on the inside of my house to keep them in their shape. I don't want them all smushed in a box while they're waiting to be sold, and I really don't have the space to stack them on shelves, so I just display them on the doors, and that's year round. But for the Hallmark shows, you will see that for Christmas, they may have 12 wreaths, which no real person would probably do that, but they look really nice on those shows. They paid a lot of attention to the aesthetics. Obviously, they brought in professionals to be able to do that many decorations and still not look bad. I'm having the same problem with this one where the cap is not staying on. So I have attached the cap securely. I'm gonna do another round of hot glue and leave it alone this time, and then that should allow it to set. And if I quit messing with it, the glue will do its job and it'll set. So making sure it's in the cap, and it is. Always one little stinker in a group. Alright. Those two just need to be friends. So I'm going to do something different with these two. I'm going to actually glue them to each other, because I'd like them to be friends, and right now they're not. So I'm going to give that a couple of seconds as I hold it together, and that will help them to help each other. So a couple of more seconds. And I will now, because I discussed about the color red and wanted to break it up, so I already know the next set I'm going to do. Are you guys friends yet? Nope, you need a little bit more time. Alrighty. So again, as I said, I'm impatient. So while that's being held together, and it really just needs probably 10 more seconds of me holding it, I want to use this hand and start moving my bulbs into position. Getting towards the end and looking at my spacing, because I know these are going to be very big. They go here. Now there's a little bit of room over there for those. So they are now finally friends. Okay, so let's do the next set. And again, I already said I did not want to record all of this. I'm going to finish up the ornaments, go grab the holly berries, and I'll come back and we'll decide whether it's going to be added or if it's too much. 1 second. See ya. Okay, now we have the ornaments added, we have the lights or the ribbon. The only question is, are we done or does it need a little something more? So I did pick up the hollyberry picks, and these are just picks that I picked up at the end of last season. I paid pennies on the dollars because it was about 70-80% off, and it's good to have these kind of things because they're great for fillers, for wreaths, for garland, lots of great places you can use them. So I just kind of want to tuck a few of these and see, do I feel like I need them? I may not need that much. I maybe could just use a little bit less amount. Are they adding to it or are they taking away? That is the question. So I kind of want to just play with this for a moment and see if I were to add these. What do we think? Do we like it? Is it a good thing? Is it too much? Maybe we don't need one next to each one. Maybe we just need a couple. What do we think? And this, I think, just got stuck. I don't like that separation. I kind of want them closer, so I may put another piece of wire to hold that together. I don't dislike it. I just don't know if it's adding anything. Is it making it better or no? Let us see. What do our eyes say? And I really need these two bulbs to hang together a little tighter, so I will adjust them. As I look, I am not feeling that it's really adding. And that is the whole thing. If it's going to add, maybe it should be a lesser amount. This one doesn't bother me so much. So maybe if I just added one. What do we think? If we just added the one there, as opposed to putting multiple ones. I don't dislike the one there. I think I didn't like it in too many places. But if we just add that one, I like it. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe just add one of the holly berries to each garland strand. This is one of the shorter ones, so the very long one may get two. But I do think I want to just kind of tuck that in there. And that would probably be the final touch. I did grab a couple of small ornaments. I just wanted to see if we need more ornaments. Does it add? If I add more ornaments, does it take away if I add more ornaments? Because again, you want to make sure you're getting that right balance. It's not hard to go from just right to too much. And I just tuck a couple of these, grab that one, and see. I'm not feeling that that adds anything. Even if I tried a different one. No. I don't think we need more ornaments. I think a couple of holly berries here and there. I keep calling them holly berries. If I'm calling them the wrong thing, forgive me. But I call them holly berries. And so I think that will be the plan, to just add a few of those. And then I think we are finally ready to put it on the staircase. So I'm going to stop recording, add the holly berries, and then come back and we will be ready to put this on the stairs. See ya shortly. As I'm finishing up on the holly berries, I did want to do one update. I said at the beginning of this video that I did not want to use hot glue for the ornaments because of my concerns about the lights, which may be completely unfounded, but yet they're my concerns. I do want to update that in attaching the holly berries, I am using hot glue. I'm being very careful and attaching them to the ornaments themselves, and with that degree of care and attaching them directly to the ornaments, and just checking to make sure they're not near the lights, I think we're fine. But in case later on you're wondering, well, how in the world did she attach the holly berries? Hot glue. Carefully placed onto the ornaments, staying away from the lights. Okay, I'm going to finish up. I do want to show you kind of where we are right now. On this particular one, which was a little bit longer than the other one that I did, I have the holly berries in two places, down here in the lower end and then up here. And as these are kind of bouncing around, part of me wants to tighten them up, and I probably will. And a part of me says once I get them in place, they should be fine. So we'll see. but I don't want too much wobble. I feel like some of these have a little too much wobble to them, so I may tighten those up. But I did want you to see how I think in these it has very much enhanced and added to the look and not taken away. But again, being very careful where you put them. Aesthetics, they should not be everywhere. What I am finding is they seem to work better next to the smaller bulb, the ones that I really like from the Walmart bulbs, and they seem to work better there as opposed to the larger ones, and I think it just makes sense. These are smaller, they could take a little something extra. These are already so large that you just really kind of go too far by adding something to them. So I have one more strand to go. Keep losing my voice here. Excuse me. But I have one more strand to go, and then we will be ready to affix to the staircase. So I will be right back. So I've now attached the garland to the staircase banister. I did it using the same floral wire that I was using yesterday when I made the garland. So I'm just going to show you the finished product and just point out a couple of things for you here. So as you can see, the garland, I think it looks pretty great. Was able to do it going all the way upstairs as well. One of the things I did want to discuss is the cord for the lighting. So the garland comes all the way down, but of course we always have to deal with cords. What I've done, because of the placement of the outlet, which is here behind this table, is I've added a couple of poinsettias, which are doing a great job of helping to hide that cord. There's still a teeny bit of cord showing, but really the overall effect is so amazing that you really don't notice that tiny bit of cord. And I think the poinsettias do a great job of accenting the garland and also doing a great job of hiding most of that cord. If you have a concern about your cord showing, you might wish to consider using twinkle lights. Twinkle lights are great because you don't have to worry about cord. However, for me, I was concerned as to whether or not there would be enough light, so I did choose to use standard lighting and just hide the cord. But either way is fine, it's your preference, and it depends on where your outlet is located and whether or not the cord will be an issue. But here's our finished product. Again, I think it's turned out great. Certainly the look that I was going for, and I'm happy with the overall aesthetic. And what I will do is show you a picture of last year's garland and show you how I have upped the game greatly this year by adding the ornaments, the ribbons, changing the actual greenery to something a little more authentic looking, and I just think the finished product was worth the time, the effort that was put in here. So that concludes this video. I do hope that it's been helpful and inspires you to try a little something new to add sparkle to your home this holiday season. There will be another video that will be decorating the Christmas tree and trying something new, an idea that I found on Pinterest. So I do hope that you'll join me for that video as well, and that both videos will be helpful to you. So just wishing you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all the best in the new year, and reminding you from Majestic Designs and Creations to add a little sparkle to your life. Have a great one.